Hypnagogic Jerks. The glitch between worlds. You lie in bed. The day fades behind you. Your breath slows, muscles soften. The room dissolves into a warm blur. Sleep beckons, not as an idea, but as a gravitational pull dragging your consciousness into the dark. And then it happens. A sudden jolt, a violent snap of your leg or arm, a shock that surges through your body like you've just stepped off a ledge, and gravity remembered you. You awaken, heart racing, disoriented. Were you falling? Was it a dream? Or was it something else entirely? This is the hypnagogic jerk, a sudden involuntary spasm that erupts in the fragile space between waking and sleep. A physiological misfire, or something stranger. Most people will experience this at least once, some more than others, but almost no one knows why it happens. Science calls it a sleep start. But that name feels too simple for something so deeply visceral, so ancient. This phenomenon has persisted across centuries, cultures, and conditions. A universal glitch embedded in the code of consciousness itself. So, what's really going on here? The hypnagogic state, the transition between wakefulness and sleep, is not a single point. It is a borderland, a place where neurons slow, muscles unwind, and the mind begins to dream before the body has fully signed off. In this liminal state, signals get crossed, the body lets go, but the brain, still partly tethered to waking vigilance, panics. One theory suggests that your brain misinterprets your body's relaxation as falling, as if it still thinks you're in a tree, like our primate ancestors, a biological ghost of the past, and so it jerks you back from the brink. A neurological flinch, evolution's last-second lifeline. Another theory ties it to misfires in the reticular formation of the brainstem. This region, responsible for regulating consciousness and motor control, is like a gatekeeper between your awareness and your dreams. But sometimes, just before it shuts the door, a flicker escapes. A misaligned impulse, a burst of static. The result, a full-body twitch, a spark of confusion, and the feeling that reality just slips sideways. There are patterns too. Stress makes them worse, so does caffeine. And exhaustion, strangely, increases the likelihood of them striking just as your body is crying out for rest. But here's where it gets even more mysterious. What if this isn't just a glitch? What if, at the edge of sleep, your brain is doing more than misfiring? What if it's tuning into something else? Sleep is not simply a shutdown, it's a recalibration, a shift in dimensional processing. Some researchers propose that in sleep, the brain tests simulations, runs scenarios, renders false environments to train itself. So what if the hypnagogic jerk is the brain crashing out of a simulation too soon? What if that sudden fall wasn't just imagined, but a failed rendering of a dream you weren't supposed to remember? The sensation of falling might not just be metaphorical. It could be a literal misalignment in the brain's virtual physics engine, a debugging error between your body's sensory input and the mind's simulated environment. In other words, what if, just before you sleep, you fall out of a world the brain was trying to build? And then there's the emotional response. Why does it leave us so shaken? Because the moment of falling triggers something primal. A fear not just of physical danger, but of losing control, of slipping out of the known and into the void. The hypnagogic jerk reminds us that we are never fully in command of our bodies, that even in rest, even in peace, the brain holds its own secrets. For some, these jerks are rare. For others, they are nightly interruptions, moments of micro-panic carved into the stillness. There are ways to soften them. Mindfulness, breathing techniques, a warm routine that coaxes the nervous system into surrender. And sometimes a shift in how you think about them is all it takes. Because maybe they're not interruptions. Maybe they're messages. From your mind to your body, from your waking self to the dreamer waiting just below the surface. A reminder of the boundary you're about to cross. And how strange, how beautiful, how fragile that crossing truly is. So next time you feel that jolt, that sudden fall into nothingness, pause for a moment. Let your fear settle. You haven't broken, you haven't failed to sleep. You've simply touched the edge, the invisible line where reality flickers and the brain whispers, "Not yet." And in that instant, you were awake and dreaming at the same time.